Hello, my name is Ms Sales Executive here at Computing Systems. I'm here to talk about systems hardware, a portfolio that we have been dealing with since inception, that is when Computing Systems started. So as a background, systems hardware is that physical equipment that you see, your CPU, that is the central processing unit, your hard drive, that is your casing, your graphics card, that is the physical hardware that has been the core of, when you talk of IT, we talk of that computer, that is the computer. So, but to complete a computer you need the software, but I'm here to just talk about that computer, that physical hardware that you see to form systems hardware. So, having mentioned that, Computing Systems has been in the forefront in providing services to customers as in systems hardware is concerned. We start with the design, where we assess infrastructures of the organization. We assess, we recommend, we supply, we deliver, we configure to a point where we transfer skills to an organization that would have sold our systems hardware to. We have got some certifications in various portfolios in vendors that we support. These vendors include HPE, Dell, IBM, Lenovo, and Epson, among other things. So in these, the certifications includes both sales certifications, technical certifications, and technical sales certifications. So I believe we're now a trusted advisor, as Computing has been in the business for over 30 years, like we're actually celebrating our 30 years anniversary this year, and it is a feat that I am proud to be part of. So in closing, I would say for your server infrastructure, for your storage hardware, for your backup and recovery, Computing is here to serve. Give us a call and we can assist.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome to the Success Talks with Coach T. Mungate. This is a show designed to inspire and motivate you with real-life stories of those people that have made it in life and to equip you with the different tools that one needs to achieve success in different areas of life. And this is our season 2. We are proudly sponsored by Computing Systems, and we'd like to thank them for sponsoring our show. And I am your host for this particular edition, Coach Tendai Mungate. Ladies and gentlemen, with me on the show today is this amazing woman, beautiful.
Really? Stop.
Yes. This is Ms Rebecca Manford. She's a chartered accountant and a gospel musician, yes, and a public speaker as well. Ms. Manford, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Coach Tendai.
It's quite humbling having you on the show.
My goodness. I'm the one who should be excited here. But okay, let's continue.
All right. Okay. So to those that may not know who you are, please do care to introduce yourself to our viewers.
Okay, so I'm known as Rebecca Manford. A lot of people also just call me Ms Manford. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to really say, but I think a tree is known by its fruit. Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you what I'm known for, and then maybe that can give you a bit of an idea of who I am. Mm-hmm. So I am a chartered accountant, like you mentioned already. I'm a gospel singer. Mm-hmm. I'm a public speaker. I'm a mentor. I've got a mentorship program that I founded myself. And I'm an advocate for women's issues. Mm-hmm. Definitely. How can I forget that one? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. So I'm sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, your journey as a chartered accountant started off when you were 19?
I was 19 years old, actually.
When you actually jumped into the accounting industry?
Into the accounting field, yes.
Okay, so please take us through that journey up until
to where I am today. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you called it a journey, because it's these things don't happen in one day. Mm-hmm. I always say to young people when I speak to them that the type of society we have right now, people are expecting things to happen very quickly, mm-hmm, because we see so much on social media. We see people flaunting their money. We see young people doing so many things, traveling, going all over the place. So it's always easy to think maybe you're not doing enough in life, or that it's so easy to get there because such young people have accumulated so much wealth. But then the reality is that that's a few people's story and lifestyle, and we don't even know how they've accumulated the wealth that they have. But the reality of life is you have to work hard. So I started working at 19 years old, and this was basically 2 weeks after I finished my A-level, before even results were out. I enrolled into an accounting firm. And from there, that's when I started my journey to become a chartered accountant. I never went to university. Well, physically, physically that is. I was already, the program makes you study and work at the same time. So you get experience whilst you're studying. So from the time I was 19 years old, starting right from the bottom. This is the point that I want to stress. I started as a clerk, that person who gets sent around. You get there with your nice clothes and your heels and everything. Then you're that person who's told, please go make a coffee for me. Please go and pay my telephone bill. And it humbles you because you're coming from straight at the top when you're in high school. Then you go right to the bottom of the food chain. But those things build character, and we'll talk about that a bit later. But it's taken a lot of time since I started at 19 and I'm now 33. 19, I was a clerk. At 33, I'm a chief finance officer for a large tobacco company. So there's a lot of work that goes in between there. Imagine I've gone through being a clerk, being maybe a senior, being a supervisor, being a manager, being a senior manager, and then eventually becoming CFO. And that has taken a very, very long time, a lot of work, and very little play, I have to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. The thing that I like is you agree with me that it's a journey.
Yes. And it never stops.
Yeah,
it never stops. Yeah.
So in this journey, please share with us some of the major successes that you have achieved. What are some of the major highlights of the journey?
I will tell you this. For me, I'm somebody who celebrates every single step of the way. So every little thing for me is a success, and I celebrate it. So for me, everything is major. You can see me celebrating today that I did this, and you might think it's so small, but I believe in gratitude and rewarding yourself and celebrating yourself at every single step. Because when I started out, I think when I was younger though, I was always in leadership positions. So by grade 6, I was a prefect. Grade 7, I was one of the head girls. I was a member of parliament for the Children's World Parliament, representing Zimbabwe at some point.
Wow.
Then a little later, I was the junior deputy mayor of Harare. So it's stuff that I've been doing ever since I was young, and it's success at every single stage. However, what I do want to say is that as much as you recognize every single step and success that you get, you're a fool if you ever think you've arrived. Because there's always the next level to something. So for me to sit here and say, okay, Coach Tendai, I've had this success, no. It's not even like that. I'm aiming for so much more. But yes, I do acknowledge what I've done in the past, but success is an everyday thing. As long as you get out of bed and live out your purpose, that is success every single day, I think.
Oh, success is an everyday thing.
Yes.
Okay. Let me digest that for a little bit. You said what? Success is an everyday thing.
It's an everyday
Thank
thing.
you very much for that. Powerful. Right. So you mentioned that, the journey, there's always a step,
Right.
for each and everything. All right. So, but I feel like there are also some lowest moments that you've encountered in your journey.
Oh, yes.
And challenges.
Oh, yes.
Please share with us.
That is so true. I think as a professional working in Zimbabwe, imagine I left high school in 2006. 2007, I started, we'll call it 2007. 2007, I started working. 2008, the economy crashed because of the depression of the world economy. So imagine how it's like when you're just starting out your career and you learn that what you earn is maybe worth $5 to $10 US dollars. So challenges like financial challenges have been for me, ever since I started working, it's never been all good or anything. It's always been a financial constraint, which also caused me to always be seeking greener pastures. You know, sometimes you get to a certain job in a company and you're like, I really like this place. But because you have a family at home to feed, you've got responsibilities. So you're constantly looking for somewhere else that can, yes, give you experience, but that can also give you more money. That is a reality. That is a reality. So when you, I'll say this, when you're looking for a job, please find out how much it is that they'll give you. Because it's very nice to have a good job, good experience, but at some point, the money also has to make sense. Okay. So it's been one that finances, because finances will also affect things like how much further you can study. Studying is also very expensive, you know, so sometimes you want to advance yourself, but you can't because you can't afford it at that point. I'll also say things like something that I've experienced quite a lot in what I would say lows in my professional career is gender discrimination. And I don't want to sound like a victim or anything, but it's the reality, you know. If you look at how these things go, you find that sometimes we're not afforded the same opportunities as men. I will give you a very small example. When you go for an interview as a woman, they will ask you, and these are usually not questions that they'll ask a man. They'll ask you, are you married? How many kids do you have? Because those things are what will determine whether they feel you're fit for a job or not. Because they'll think, how can they be our finance manager? Will they be able to work late? She's got a husband. Is she able to travel out of the country? Because maybe the husband will be like, no, I don't want my wife to travel. You know, things like that. And then you tend to find actually that even when it comes to salaries, men are perceived to be maybe the breadwinners at their house and their home. So they will usually be offered more money than women. But things have changed. For example, I'm a breadwinner at my house. So all I, you know, it's always been a constant struggle. And obviously when I was in a lower level, I couldn't talk about some of these things. But with the position that I am in now, I'm now also quite bold to just be frank with some of the discrimination that I see in the workplace and say, no, this is what it looks like. Maybe this was not your intention, but at least now I can be a bit of a vocal person. From the time I was younger. So at least, you know, I feel like I have a voice and I can also stand up for other women at work. Okay. So, you know, yeah. And besides that, I think more on a personal level, but also because, you know what, your career is not separate to your personal life. For me, one of the lows that I encountered at some point is that I was in a relationship that then led into a marriage. But to summarize it, marriage ended up taking away all the dreams and goals that I had for myself. I was a bit young, so, young, not age-wise, but I was a bit naive and I didn't know how certain things should be done. So my idea of being a wife was that I have to let go of all my goals and dreams and follow the man, which is kind of what we're taught at church, for example, you know. But now I have an appreciation that a marriage and a partnership is two people coming together. As a woman, you submit to your husband. He's the head of the family vision and goals, etc. But as you are not your own person. You can still be under someone's leadership, but your dreams and goals do not have to be shelved. Because when I got married, at some point I had to stop working. I was pressured into that. I had to stop working. The second thing is I had to stop singing because I was categorically told I don't want a wife as a superstar as a wife. Yeah. So those are some of the lows that I've gone through. And you have to make a decision at the end of the day. So what I would just say is how to get out of something like that is that even when you're, and now I'm preaching, even when you're at a dating phase with someone, make sure that you are equally yoked. Do your goals align with that person, or at least do your goals not meddle against each other? That is very, very important because a partner can either make you or break you. So that is something that's very, very important, and I'm glad I know better now. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. That's too much. Thank you.
Breathe.
Yes, I think I have to breathe. Yeah, but thank you very much for sharing and for opening up about your marriage.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality of it. We try to separate career, life, spirituality, religion from things, but these are all things that are intertwined. Absolutely.
Wow. No,
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I think it's a good time to actually take a short break, and viewers, actually we are now taking a short break. Please do keep liking, sharing, and commenting on this particular broadcast.
The world is in your hands. It's time for you to take a stand. You can be whatever you want, anywhere. You can do whatever you want, anywhere. Ms Manford. I have a reason to praise you. So many reasons to lift your name on high. Makandina kira o Baba. Munondi konera o Jesu.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and this is Success Talks with Coach Team Ngate Season 2, proudly brought to you by CompuLink Systems. And with me is Rebecca Manford, an amazing woman. And before the break, you were talking about the challenges that you faced and the lowest moments that you faced.
Yes.
But yeah, before the break, actually, you mentioned about some of the successes that you have achieved, up until to where you are now.
Okay.
Please share with us. I believe that on this show, we believe that principles are what make a man.
Right.
What are some of the principles that have helped you and shaped you into the person that you are? Maybe 5.
Maybe 5. Okay, we'll see how many I can come up with.
Okay.
But firstly, I want to say the way that you are raised, how you're raised and what you're taught is very, very important. Because I find that even now as an adult, and my father is late, I find that things that he taught me when I was much younger, there's not anything new now. It's just now me appreciating and applying the things that he taught me. So the best foundation I feel I had was the way that my parents raised. And raised me, and that's my opinion, obviously. But I think it has helped me. The first thing is that I come from a family where there's 3 girls, right? No boy. Then we now have an adopted sister so there's 4 of us now, right? But it's all girls. I never really knew the dynamics of male and female when I was growing up, because my parents literally taught me that I could do anything. Even when my mother made us do things, there was no gender to things. So we were able to do everything that a man does or that a woman does. It's only much later in life that when I grew up that I realized, oh, okay, there are some things that are said specifically for men and specifically for women. So that for me, I think it was a plus, because well, ndakabhiliviswa you can do anything. You know what I mean? Exactly. So that sort of like positive talk when I was growing up is a very good thing that I got. The second thing, though, that I've now realized and appreciated as I've grown older is the power of mentorship. And I wish I'd known this such a long time ago, because I'd be somewhere else in life. But mentorship is so important. You need someone to be accountable to. You need someone who you can set out goals and they continue asking you, "Wa papi?" You need someone who can guide you, and if it's someone who's in the same industry as you, even the better. Because as much as you've got qualifications and all that stuff, you get to a ceiling where it ends up being about your reputation and who you know and who can connect you to the next thing. For example, in the next let's just say maybe by the time I'm 40, I aim that I should be a CEO of a very big company, right? But you know that half the time CEOs do not apply for jobs. When was the last time you saw even a newspaper advert that says we're looking for a CEO? No, it's referral. So it's about who you know and the reputation that you have created in the industry. So that's one thing as well. Your network is your net worth, right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
That as well. So it's good to align yourself with people with like minds, etc. You know, one thing that just a crazy example is I personally don't drink, right? But at some stage in my life, I had friends, I would hang out with people who drink. But what was I doing? What was the purpose of that? We don't even have like minds. I mean, go ahead, drink, no worries. But I'm just saying, mune same mindset. So, and what I do now is, let's call it levels. I don't really hang out with people at my level. I hang out with people who are up there so that I continue to get inspired. You know, I hang out with some of my peers are people who own many, many businesses. You know, their talk is, by the time I'm 40, I want to own a private jet. I want to, you know, that's their language. So even me in my skoro, my thinking is now bigger, it's more open. Because the way we survive in Zimbabwe, we tend to just have a mentality of hand to mouth. And that is the reality on the ground. Whatever you get, you just buy and then you eat. You get paid on the 25th, by 26th, or even end of day 25th, your money is gone. But if you hang out with people who have a vision, your vision becomes bigger as well. So, you know, there's that cliche thing that always says that if your dreams don't scare you, then they're not big enough. You should see what my vision board looks like. It's crazy. And it looks like something so far and impossible that I can't even share with people. Because people are like, she's over ambitious. But that's what you need. You need to dream big. You need to have purpose. And one thing, though, another principle that I've learned is that, you know, and this is something that I've seen in both my careers, because, you know, I've got two careers. I've got the accounting career, corporate world, and then I've got the music career as well, is that you get advice from, the moment you're out there, you get advice from a lot of people. But now what you need is discernment and wisdom to know which advice is actually good for you. Because I could just be in my corner irritated that, why does Tendai post so much on social media, right? And that's not even validated or substantive. It's not a reason. It's just me jealous of you. So I come to you and I say, Tendai, you know what, for people to take you seriously, I think you should stop posting so much on social media, or I think don't make funny jokes on social media because people are watching you. And it's just somebody who doesn't want to see you, or you're all over the place. Don't do that. You'll become too common. Those are things that people say. So at the end of the day, you find that apparently everyone else knows what's best for you except you. You know what I mean? Because everybody has an opinion. So what you need to do at the end of the day, because everybody has an opinion, some valid, some not valid, it's better to have a few wise people around you that you know can always call you out when you're really going out of line. But at the end of the day, do you? What you want, what you feel is your purpose, what you feel you should be doing is what you should choose. And then if it happens that there's consequences that are not very favorable, that's now on you. At least you can say, okay, I made my own decision and this is what happened and I'll take it. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. I think you shared more than 5. But yes, thank you for those amazing principles. I think the biggest takeaway for me was the mentorship one.
Very important. Very important.
It's a crucial lesson, actually. Right. Moving on with the interview, you mentioned that you are a gospel musician.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
How did it start?
It started a long time ago, just the singing. You know, it's a cliche story. Every other singer will say, I was singing when I was 3 years old. I was what? You know, I was like that person. And much to my mother's annoyance when I was young, I would stand by coffee table, Piper, and have like a remote control, and I'll be singing like during like the evening time, because we were like a family that would always be sitting together like around 7ish, 8ish before Santa Barbara comes, and then when Santa Barbara starts, you know, you have to go to bed. But you know what? So I started singing very, very early. Then obviously in junior school, high school, I was part of a choir called Chapel Choir at Arundel School. So those who are familiar, it's maybe at least back then, it was a very, very prestigious choir. You just could not make it into the Chapel Choir. Because you had to have the pipes. You had to be able to sing. But secondly, you also had to be an all-rounder and exemplary student at the school. So it's just not your talent that qualified you to get into that choir. So when I got into that choir, it also brought a discipline. And it exposed me to so many genres of music, because our choir teacher, her name was Rose Whaley. She liked to do we did the choral music, obviously, but we did like jazz, we did the blues, we did like so many things. And that was so fun for me that by the time that I was maybe around A level, I even entered Eisteddfod as a soloist. So I was getting more and more confident, in myself. And then later on, as a young adult, I was part of like a youth band at church and stuff like that. And then I think around 2016, I'll try and just cut the story short, but my cousin introduced me to a recording studio. Oh my God. And all hell broke loose, because I was like, oh my God, this is so cool, So I recorded a few things in 2016, and I actually released, and the reception of it was very good as well, because I did like radio interviews, and I was just like, wow, this is going somewhere. Then that's also around the time that I got married. So then I had to stop singing. I had to stop singing. And then singing at church, obviously, because of work pressures as well. Accountants, we work late sometimes and stuff. So the commitment of also going to choir practice, which can be very, very hectic sometimes, I couldn't make it. So I stopped singing for a while. But at some point, I then gained my emancipation. I call it my emancipation. And I was like, you know what? I should be doing the things that I want to do in life. And for me, praise and worship is a calling. So I said it's high time that I go back. And I haven't looked back since. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you are a gospel musician. You are also a chartered accountant.
Yes.
Okay, talk to us about how do you strike a balance between the two? And you being a woman as well. It's not easy.
It's not easy. It's not easy. And I will then throw in another principle, is that the last one that I talked about is doing what you really want to do. And I find that I'm a very unconventional person. So most of the things that I do are never, yes, I'll do the things to the rule book, but I'm not afraid. Because a lot of people said to me, you cannot do professional, corporate, and you cannot do music at the same time. And my question was, why not? Why not?
Why not?
Why not? So, and I try to balance it, obviously. I think as I grow, I think I will need to put up a bigger team. But so far, I'm very, very hands-on, because I'm a control freak. And and I like things my way. So even if with my manager, even he takes the lead from me as to what I want to do, because it's so important for me to continue in my purpose and be authentic as a person. I have to be very, very authentic. So obviously, I'm not your typical gospel singer. Yes, I like flashy, bling, bling, all that stuff. But all I'm trying to do is spread the word.
Wow, amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. And then I think before we end the show, it would be good, you're an empowered woman. What are some of the books that you read? Maybe 3 of them.
Wow, books. Okay, I'll tell you a few. I don't know if there'll be 3. A book that everyone should read is The Alchemist.
Okay.
Second one, read The Shack. Third one, I think one of the most inspiring books I've read thus far, local writer as well, Pastor Tom Dushel, Building Nations, Building Dreams.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that you mentioned my pastor's book. So that's amazing. Thank you very much for being on the show. It was good having this chat with you and having this conversation with you. It's been good.
Thank you very much. It felt like 5 minutes though. Where did the time go?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Sparing your time to be here. I know you're a busy woman. All right. Please do share any last words of motivation to our viewers.
My last words is that there's a lot of, you go to any gravesite, there's a lot of graves that are rich. And when I say rich, that means they are rich with people's ideas, ambitions, and goals that they never, actually, went forward to do or practiced when they were alive. And that's not what we want to do. What you want to do is empty out every single day. So that by the time that you die, people will be like, this person lived. See how people talk about Jinimbi. People are like, this guy, what, he lived his life. That's what he wanted, and he went for it, and he did it. So in your own purpose, in your own sphere of influence, I think that just make sure that every day you're emptying. A lot of people say to me, Ms. Manford, you do so many things, but in my head, I'm like, no, I'm emptying. I'm emptying.
Wow. I think it actually reminded me of the words of Les Brown. He says that, I think it's Les Brown or someone, but he says, live full but die empty. So thank you very much for that powerful lesson. Right, ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of our show, Success Talks with Coach T. Mungate. Please do subscribe to this channel, Dreams TV, to keep seeing these episodes. Would like to thank Ms. Manford for being on the show, and our sponsors, Compulink Systems, for ensuring that we bring these episodes to you. From me, Coach Tendai, the crew behind the scenes, and our guests and our sponsors, it's a wrap.